almost like a caveman approach. Like they just think that they'll just go out there and hunt and they'll find something.
Right. Just
And
go
then
out there,
they'll run their show.
right, get a club and beat somebody over the head. Come on in and... Welcome back to the Pharmacy Rockstar podcast, where we explore the exciting world of pharmacy business, share best practices, and discuss current trends, all while having a blast with our special guest. Get ready for another jam-packed episode filled with valuable insights, entertainment, and motivation. I'm Dr. Steve Rodriguez, your host, a pharmacist, certified mergers and acquisitions advisor, and a lifelong rock enthusiast. A huge thank you to each and every one of you for joining us today. Don't forget to leave a comment, show some love by liking and sharing this video, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more exciting content. Today's guest is a pharmacy rock star, pharmacist, healthpreneur. She helps individuals and organizations struggling with marketing systems, little to no engagement on their social media posts, lack of clients and marketing issues, frustration over corporate pressure, burnout in the workplace and wanting more from life, lack of clear messaging, and gut health and autoimmune issues. She and her team pride themselves on revitalizing business growth, investment strategies, and creating new levels of health, wealth, and sovereignty. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing on the Pharmacy Rockstar podcast, Dr. Mansi Shah. All right, so Mansi, so tell us, how do you revitalize business growth, investment strategies, and create new levels of health, wealth, and sovereignty for entrepreneurs?
Wow, that's a loaded question. So
Yes.
Me and my partner, John Block, we have a big stand for humanity. And I feel like tribal leadership is what's missing in today's commodity. Like back in the day, we were all in small tribes and we had tribal leaders. And when there was something that the tribe needed, they would go to the leader in order to get the right person in order to get their questions answered. And what me and John Block decided is that post-COVID era is something that we are totally going to commit to tribal leadership with health, wealth, and sovereignty of the tribe, where we help them understand what is missing in their health. Giving a pill for an ill is not health. And the way we have been running our healthcare system is almost, I would say, we can't even call it healthcare system. It's a sick care system. And I have been in that world where I have served and known what's on the other side. So that's one core value and principle that we have, along with also the wealth creation, because there is a lot of people going down when it comes to their income or barely surviving, like the gap in our country with how other countries operate, where there is a lot of poor and then there is a lot of rich and then the middle class is barely there, is how we're kind of headed in our country also. Like a lot of middle class is disappearing. Our poor look a little different. It's just they have a car and they might have a little income to pay for their bills, or they have 2-3 jobs. Like it's getting really, really sparse. The gap is really bad now after COVID. The whole new era is now asking for people to understand what is sovereignty. Sovereignty is understanding what are your true rights and powers that you can exercise in order to live a life that you can feel fulfilled. So those 3 core principles is how we have founded our club. It's called Abundance Retreat Club. And people come through the club to understand self-mastery, revitalize like how they've been living, like also looking, because we're so busy doing that we don't even look on how we're living, right? Like, did we really come to Earth to live like this? So those are the 3 core principles that we truly implement at Abundance Retreat Club. And from there, then we'll see, like, what is the next step for them? Are they also ready to become tribal leaders, or they want to become just members and then become support members of the tribe that we're creating? So we're committed to creating micro tribes that are between 50 to 150, and at least about over a few thousand of those. And that's how we're operating our business.
Wow, no, that's awesome. That's awesome. Well, So, so tell me about yourself. Like what's your story? You just told us what your mission is, but how did you get started in this? How did you become this rock star healthpreneur that you are?
How did I become that? So I'm an immigrant. I came to America at the age of 20. And when I came, I was just literally plugged into what's next, right? Like I had my undergrad, I had drug discovery as my undergrad from Maharashtra, which is Pune University there. And it's one of the top schools to get your degrees in like base level, like pre-med, you call it pre-pharmacy, whatever. Drug discovery was my major, and I was like, I want to help people. I got into pharmacy thinking that we actually help people, giving them their life back, and also finding cures, right? So what do you know as a 17, 18-year old? After coming on the other side is how I started realizing. So I personally got very sick when I was in pharmacy school, and that's when my journey started as a healthpreneur, because I was on one end in school as a student learning all these things. And then I was very sick with stomach ulcers and all the stress and lifestyle choices I was making there. And I had no help. Basically, like I was just bounced around from doctor to doctor. Someone saying, "Oh, let's get an endoscopy, let's get a colonoscopy, let's get celiac disease tested." And then just like whoever was getting paid on whatever, I was just being bounced around, like whatever was in the best interest of the doctor. So I clearly saw what was missing in being a patient and being a provider, or being a pharmacist or a healthcare professional, whatever you call it. I was just like blown away at the age of 24 that this is not working out. Like, if this is how I'm treated, how are other people treated who don't even have enough knowledge to make decisions about their own health, or even know what truly will serve them in the best fashion, right? So I went down the rabbit hole of becoming a holistic nutritionist and launched my own lifestyle medicine sanctuary, like a 3,000 square feet uh, area where we had everything under the roof, like red light therapy. This is almost 12 years ago. So that was, ahead of time to launch something like this. And it was like organic food cafe, all this high quality food that was free from allergens and any additives, or like basically the highest quality that could serve human body, along with also doing yoga, functional workouts, infrared therapy, you name it. And I possibly brought it that was available at that time. This was launched, and the idea came to me in 2013, and then I launched in 2015. So that was my journey coming out of pharmacy school. Even though I was planning to become a fellow at one of the pharmaceutical companies in New Jersey, I left that. So the interview went well, and it was just like what to do. But because of my own sickness, I had to choose to go on the healthpreneur side.
So is this because of your personal experience with the healthcare system? Is that where you learn these skills, would you say? I mean, is that kind of like you learn through trial and error just by being a patient in the sick care system, as you described it?
Yeah, I went down the rabbit hole of following some of the really high quality nutrition doctors, like Dr. Michael Gerber. He is the founder of nutritionfacts.org, and that's where my journey started. And it was truly through just trial and error of seeing what was happening and how could I help myself, and that became the conduit to help others. So when I launched my practice, I helped over 400 clients there at the center, and we were truly just doing everything with lifestyle nutrition and basically removing offending agents that were causing all the health issues. So that's where I started getting mastery over really how to get people their health back. And that's what I became pharmacist for. So I was just feeling very fulfilled. But, life had different plans. And It wasn't a profitable business because I was way ahead of time, and this was in India, so it was also way ahead of the country's timeline, and people weren't that committed. Literally before COVID, I don't think people were this aware about their health, and the commitment wasn't there. That's how I've seen it, being in it myself.
No, absolutely. I think that's one good thing about COVID is that it's really opened up a lot of opportunities for pharmacists, because pharmacists, I mean, we all know that pharmacists are the most accessible healthcare provider in the country. I mean, we're available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So anytime somebody has a problem, I mean, they can always go to their local community pharmacist. And I think COVID, it just created these opportunities for pharmacists, but it's those rock stars, those guys like you that could see those opportunities, identify those opportunities, and then go after them.
You have to have the courage, and a lot of pharmacists don't have that, is what I've seen. What's your take?
No, I totally agree. That rocks that you said that, because that is so true. So many pharmacists, we go into healthcare to take care of patients. We care about people. We want to help people. But in doing so, we almost do it to a detriment, like for example,
Mm-hmm.
one of the, I don't know, one of the hypocrisies, I guess, as healthcare professionals, is that we're counseling patients every day, okay, when they come to the pharmacy about health and wellness and take care of yourself, diet and exercise. But then a lot of pharmacists aren't doing that for themselves.
Exactly.
I'm like,
I've seen blown away, right? I've
yeah,
seen some of them drop dead at their workplace.
yes. I mean, there's been stories, at major chains that one of my guests that I had on, Bled Tanaway, she was on my show a couple of months ago talking about that one incident. And it's just like, wow, it just blows your mind that we're coaching people on healthcare and wellness. And a lot of us, we fail to take care of ourselves. And I'm such a believer, I'm such a proponent of that whole airline analogy to whenever you get on the plane and at the beginning of the flight, the flight attendant says, hey, if the plane loses cabin pressure, put the mask on yourself before you put it on your child. Because if you pass out, who's going to take care of your child? And I think as pharmacists, as healthcare providers, we have to be cognizant of that we have to take care of ourselves first in order to be able to take care of our patients.
Absolutely. And what I've realized, Steve, that people, when they get free advice or just free counseling, they do not implement anything. The energy that people put in when there is money involved, that's the only energy that really shows up. Human brain is wired to only show up for the amount of money they will put into something. So I was very clear that I do not want to be average, 120K making pharmacist at some chain that's just telling people what to do, because telling doesn't do anything. You have to show up for them. They have to show up for themselves, and there should be money involved. And there is a lot of free counseling just given out, which is not valued. Like, it's a waste of time, energy, and resource.
Correct. No, I totally agree. It's kind of like, it's about your brand. Okay. Like I see you, like you are a brilliant marketer. And that is one thing that as pharmacists, as a whole, we all suck at it, and there's a few of them that are very good. And people like you have identified a way to market themselves. That's why people like you have 31,000 followers on LinkedIn. I mean, that is incredible. I don't know of another pharmacist that's got more LinkedIn followers than you do. So kudos to you. But I see how you do it. I mean, you're out there. You have the courage. I've seen you make some posts, and you kind of discuss some of your vulnerabilities, I guess, for lack of a better term, but you're being real.
Mm-hmm.
You are being real with the audience. They are seeing the real Mansi Shah. And I'm like, man, and then I look at your profile, I'm like, well, dang, no wonder she's got so many followers. She is for real. there's no BS here. You walk the walk. And that is so awesome.
Absolutely.
That totally rocks. So thank you for doing that. Thank you for being a leader, for being an innovator, for having the courage to do those things, because I don't know what it is, but as pharmacists, most of us aren't wired like that. When I was in pharmacy school, I mean, I think you and I are kind of wired along the same lines. I mean, we're willing to push the envelope, do things that people kind of think, hey, this is kind of unorthodox here. What's Steve doing? I remember being on my cardiology rotation, and we had a code. And then the fellows, the residents, all the med students were there. I'm like, hey man, let me jump in there. Let me throw in some chest compressions. And I'm in there doing chest compressions on a patient. Like, I'm going, hey, what do I got to do here? Like, I want to get in there. Hey, why can't I do that? I'm like, hey,
I
this
love
patient,
that.
and so you just doing things like that. And of course, people are looking like, what the hell is Steve doing? Look
Who
at him.
are these people?
Right. Who
Yeah.
is this guy? And I'm like, hey man,
Who's this guy? Yeah.
right. And that's just, I've always been that guy, and so when I see people who kind of think along the same lines, I'm like, man, I love that, man. And that's why I was like, I got to get you on my show, because I can tell you're an outside the box thinker. I mean, you're an innovator. And I see, I was listening to a podcast this morning. Alex Hormozia's.
Oh man, love that guy.
Yeah,
That's like every day,
yeah,
my Bible, right? Like every
yeah,
morning. What's Alex saying today?
yeah. I was listening to Alex this morning as I was working out. I'm listening to Alex, and he's talking about branding, and he's talking about like the history of branding, what the word means, like going back to whenever ranchers would brand their cows, and what that brand meant, and why you can have a $5 T-shirt. Okay, it's a $5 white T-shirt, but as soon as you throw the Nike swoosh on it, it becomes a $45 T-shirt.
Exactly. That's the power of branding.
That's the power of branding. See, but that's the power of what you're talking about is consumers, they value that. And so you're going after those consumers, but you're providing that value as well for them to pay you what they pay you. You know what I mean? And so I so love that, because I deal with that in my business as well. My business is Buy Sell RX. I'm a pharmacy advisor. I'm the only certified mergers and acquisition advisor pharmacist in the country. And that's one of the things that I did to differentiate myself. The only other people that have that designation are attorneys, CPAs, MBAs, I'm probably one of a handful of healthcare providers with the CMA designation. But I did that in order to elevate my brand. Like, I want to elevate my brand. So whenever somebody tells me, say, well, Steve, I want you to sell my, list my pharmacy, but this guy will list it, for this amount, and you want to do it for this amount. I'm like, hey, absolutely. I see the value in what I do. I know what my value is. And hey, but just know that if you come to me, you're going to deal with the Rockstar Pharmacy Merger and Acquisition Advisors. Okay. You go to the other guy, a lot of, my competition, I know who they are and what they do, but I know that they don't bring the value that I can bring. And that's what I think you're doing. I think that's exactly what you're doing as well.
Absolutely. Things that we have done, Steve, it didn't exist in the marketplace. So we had to kind of carve our own path, because nobody even knew what we were doing. They thought that like some of the craziest people are the ones who will be the change makers of the world. Steve Jobs said, right? He's my favorite guy too. So I was going to talk about innovative leadership, like how like people are in different stages, right? So there is chaotic stage where there is a lot of people kind of against each other, and there's chaos. The second stage is where people are indifferent, like things are there is no innovation, and they're just indifferent. They're not even like enmeshed with each other. The third stage is when it starts getting better, but it's like, oh, I'm better than you. So a lot of healthcare professionals have that, like MDs, PharmDs, NPs, they all have that. I'm better than you, right? Like, oh, I know this so much better than you, and I know that so much better than you. So that's where we're stuck in the stage 3. Now, stage 4 is where we are so much better. So you, me, it doesn't matter, an MD, an NP, all healthcare professionals become a we. But I am here to disrupt that. Even the stage 4 is not where you want to be. Stage 5 is we are here for the greater good of humanity, and I am not afraid to ruffle any feathers because I am standing for humanity. And that's what you and me do, is like, we're not afraid to ruffle feathers to stand up for our people. And that's the leadership that we're bringing at our club. So we have an abundance retreat club, and that's, we see what stage people are at, and we only allow people at 3 and above because we can coach them. The 1 and 2 is different and difficult for sure.
Right, man. Wow, that is awesome. So let me ask you this: how important is mindset? Like when you like to an individual, to an entrepreneur, to a pharmacist. I mean, just to anyone that wants to do more, to achieve more in life. Like, how important is mindset?
It's everything's here. Literally, this is the engine that controls you, right? Like, I could be looking at, like, oh my God, this is such an amazing place to be. Or I could be looking at the same place as, like, oh my God, I am not at the $5 million house that I want to be, or I'm not making the money that I've. So there's always two sides of the coin. And the mindset work, it's just kind of so over, I would say, used. Like, oh, mindset. It's just literally a daily practice of gratitude, looking at things in the way that serves you. Like, every morning, you should have a routine that truly serves you. So, like, I have a 4 thing that is a non-negotiable in the morning is movement, meditation, breath work, and sound, like some kind of healing that goes with my meditation. So when I do that, I'm already in a mindset of, like, gratitude. Like, what am I creating today? How am I showing up for my people? How am I showing up for myself and my family? Like, that's what leaders do, is like they take care of themselves every morning in order to show up for others. Like you did and I did this morning.
Yeah, like this morning, we, here in Dallas, where I live, where I'm at, we've been getting bombarded with storms. And last night we got hit with another storm, and it knocked out the power, so it knocked out my alarm. So I overslept, and it totally pushed everything back. It kind of set me behind schedule. But I have a routine every morning as well. I have a gratitude, show gratitude. What am I grateful for? I write down my goals, write down my targets. I do my sales and marketing training that I do every morning. I work out, and I'm just thinking, man, I'm gonna have to skip my workout this morning, because I'm running behind. But I'm like, I can't do it. I'm like, I got to squeeze it in. I've got to do it, because I had my workout in. I'm like, I got to do my routine, even though I got pushed back. But it is, you got to take care of yourself. You have to make yourself a priority in order to take care of others, take care of your business, take care of your patients, your community.
Absolutely. That the same thing that you were talking about is, like, you got to put the mask on yourself first before helping others. And that's what's kind of missing, is most people are not taking care of themselves, and how are they going to show up for others, right? You can't pour anything out of an empty container, and your cup is not filled. Denzel is one of my favorite actors, and he says, like,
I love
you got,
Denzel.
like, yeah, Denzel, like, he says,
Yeah.
you gotta fill up your bucket every morning,
Mm-hmm.
because when you go out there and you talk to people, they're just taking ladle after ladle from
Right.
that, right?
Right.
So how
Right.
are you coming back and regenerating all that?
Yeah.
Because every morning you got to do it. When you go out there, it's gonna start getting taken out.
Yeah. No, you said Denzel. Man, I love Denzel Washington. He's one of my favorite actors, and to me, he's a rock star actor. And I'll tell you, he was the first actor that made me feel the way I'm going to describe to you. Is I remember I had just graduated pharmacy school, and I was watching Training Day, and I thought, man, this movie looks cool. And I started watching Training Day, and then I started watching his character. That undercover crooked cop. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm not watching this crap, man. This is terrible. I'm like, oh my God. And I couldn't watch the movie. I got so mad. I'm like, I can't believe this guy is so crooked. He's such a jerk. He's such a setting up his partner to get killed. And then I'm like, I hated that movie. And then I thought about it one day. I'm like, wait a minute. Wait a minute here. I have never experienced that from a performance from an actor that made me feel like hate the character so much that I didn't want to watch the movie.
So real.
Yeah, I mean the guy,
So real.
right? And I'm just like, holy crap! That just speaks to how awesome of an actor he is. He played that part so well that I'm like, I hated that guy. I'm like, holy crap! And so now after that, I'm like, I gotta watch every movie that this guy makes because he does. I mean, I'm like, I've never had an actor or a movie make me feel to where I hated the guy so bad like he did. And that's when I was like, this guy is just a great actor. And when I see his stuff on YouTube, I see his mindset. I see the way he thinks. I see the way he talks, the way he takes care of himself. And he does. I mean, you're spot on. I mean, with the things that you're saying is he thinks differently. I mean, but that's what makes him so great at what he does.
Yeah. And he shows up for his family.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's not involved in any of the gossips out there,
Right.
the scandals. Like, that's what a true character does, a leader who shows up for not just the people, but himself, his family, his community. Like, that's what I love. So that's the thing is, like, we are all, in a way, we're all just, when we are in business, we're all just the same. It's like the athletes, the actors, the entrepreneurs. We're the change makers. We're the Jedis of the planet. And we're here to first take care of ourselves so we can take care of others. And that's the mindset.
No, of course. That's
the mindset work.
Yeah, you know, and you know, like you were talking about humanity. I look at Denzel. He's a true humanitarian. I mean, that guy is truly trying to do what is best for everyone, not just for a select few. You know, you know, as you were talking, you made me think of Michael Jordan. You know, we live in a very, political society, very, somewhat divided society, in a way. But I remember one of the greatest lines that Michael Jordan I thought ever said was, he would get a lot of grief because he would not get involved politically. And, certain groups are wanting him to get involved politically. And he says, well, hey, the other guys buy sneakers too. Where he didn't want to alienate anyone. And that just speaks to his genius, to his understanding of business and humanity, and just doing the greater good. That's. But again, though, when you think of Michael Jordan, to some people he's the ultimate rock star in sports. He's just. He's arguably the greatest athlete of all time. Some people will argue that Jordan is the greatest of any sport, any time. Yeah, it's a great argument to be had, but yeah, I love, having debates with my friends over stuff like that.
Me too. Yeah. Jordan is one of my favorite too. So, we are similar, as I said, like when setbacks happen, like Jordan shows up on the court with fever and still wins the game, right? Like shows up as the team player that he's meant to. That's what we had to do too as entrepreneurs. And how do you create? It's a cultivation of mindset that you have to truly, like, it's a daily practice that you have to implement. And that's why I'm big on personal leadership. Without personal leadership, there is no entrepreneurship that can be successful.
Right. Oh man, that
It's
rocks.
non-negotiable.
That totally rocks because you're spot on that. Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, hey, audience. Well, look, listen to this. The whole reason why I started this podcast was to bring valuable content just like this, people like Dr. Mansi Shah. So please be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel at BuySellRx, and share this video with your colleagues. Also, be sure to let me know if you have any questions or you'd like for me to discuss a particular topic or bring on a particular guest. So please share this video, share, and subscribe. Hey, Mansi, how can people get a hold of you as well? What's a way people can get in touch with you?
The best way to get in touch with me is to find me on my LinkedIn, Mansi Shah, MansiShah, or they could go on our website and find us there. It's functionalwellnessnetwork.com. Yeah, they can fill out a form. We work with a lot of pharmacists who are ready to be tribal leaders, and they are going to be steward of their people to do something innovative, bigger, better, and serve humanity.
So you call them tribal leaders. I call them rock stars. Yep. I mean, I think they're one and the same, but
they are, for sure.
But so what does it mean when you hear the term rock star? Like, what does that mean to you? Like, what do you think of when you think of, hey man, that person's a rock star? Like,
For me personally, that's more like a stage thing, and it's like someone who is a performer. People love them, and there is more to, how I explain the stages. So the rock star for me would be in the stage 3 or 4, and then tribal leader is one step further, where you are a rock star and now you are ready to also be there for others to rock their world in a way that has never happened before.
And for them to create more rock stars, more tribal leaders.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Wow. That's awesome. That's awesome. So tell me, so these people that you work with, these rock stars, tribal leaders, how do they navigate the challenges in pharmacy? Like, I mean, there's lots of challenges in pharmacy. How do you see these tribal leaders, these rock stars navigating those challenges?
I would say everything starts with communication, right? So when you get really good at your communication and it comes from understanding impact versus intention and how the teams are operating, like what are the shared outcomes for these teams? Like, why are pharmacies failing so much these days? Like California has a alarming rate of pharmacies that are disappearing, and either they're going out of business or they're selling to big boxes. And what that would do is it would take away from people to have like those community centers where they could truly go and find the information that best serves them. Like, that's what I'm standing for in the pharmacy world, is how can we retreat together as pharmacy leaders and create a better community pharmacy that serves people not in just pharmaceuticals but also in their emotional health, their social health. Like, how are we showing up for their physical health? Like, there are so many aspects that are missing right now, and pharmacists are the most available, as we discussed. Like, they are the front warriors. Like, I think personally, when I see pharmacists, it's like when we see the army, it's like the Marines. We're literally the Marines of the healthcare, probably next to nurses, right? Because nurses are boots on ground in the hospital and in patient care, and then we are the one right there, adjacent to that, because we're front facing, we're available, as you said, 24/7. We're just so heart center. We got into the field because we have a huge desire to serve, right? So, how are we serving is the question to ask, and how can we serve better? Is this the way we want to show up? Because clearly, whatever we're doing is not working right now.
So those pharmacy closures that you talked about, what are your thoughts on that? I mean, do you think that is a result of strictly PBM reimbursement, chains coming in? I mean, what are your thoughts when you hear of these pharmacies closing down?
It's the community aspect that's missing. They never really immersed into the community. They didn't do live events. They did not stand for the humanity. Like, if you're in a business just to fill your own pocket, the money aspect will dry up eventually.
Yeah, I see so many. One of the things that really bothers me is when I'm on LinkedIn and I see, about another independent pharmacy closing down, and I'm just thinking, oh my gosh, I wish I could have gotten to them sooner. I could have, coached them, advised them. Hey, look, do you have an exit strategy? Okay, what is your exit strategy? Okay, are your books in order? Okay, let's take a look at your financial statements. Let's look at your P&Ls. How are you running your business? And then, because I know if I would have a lot of times, if I would have gotten a chance to look at all that stuff, a lot of those guys never thought about an exit strategy. A lot of pharmacies don't have P&Ls. I'm still amazed at the number of pharmacies that don't have websites. They don't have, accurate financial statements. They're flying blind, and then, they view everything They view everything as a liability, as an asset. They view everything as an expense versus an investment. And I think that's going back to the mindset is, you have to invest in yourself. You have to take care of yourself, or you're not going to be around to take care of others.
Absolutely. That's definitely the reason that pharmacies are failing. A lot of people just get into the business thinking, oh, like, I'm just going to do what I was doing at the corporate structure. Corporations operate differently. You have to have so much going on. Like, the first thing a pharmacist, when they launch a pharmacy, should have is bookkeeping, an accountant, and a CPA who's going to be really staying on top of all of this, right? Like right now, I have become way more uh, diligent about my own profitability and my businesses. So, Profit First is a great book to read and implement on how you're doing your business and how to have different buckets for each dollar that comes in. So people don't realize that one thing about the business is business has one job to do, to serve its clients and make money, right? Like literally just like twofold. And then when you are not doing the community aspect, like you are not serving people in the best possible way. So I've been blessed to help a lot of pharmacy bring health and wellness and truly become that community center where people can actually come for information. So a lot of pharmacists that I work with, they would have a lead pharmacist that would get certified for health and nutrition coaching, and then we have a whole program that could be implemented. So while they are on these drugs and they are wanting more results for their health, and you do a complementary of the two, that's when you really start seeing the patient will have a lot more trust, and they become loyal, and they will, as much as you stand for them, they will stand for you.
Right. Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. That totally rocks. Well, one thing I want to get into with you is because again, you're just great at this. I mean, you are just one of the best I've seen at this. But I want you to discuss how important sales and marketing are for not just a pharmacy, but for any business. Because I think from what I've seen, that is one of the biggest failures is that so many, pharmacy owners and small business entrepreneurs in general, they don't understand how important marketing and sales are for your organization.
See, would you say that people feel that being salesy is kind of like you're like this, money hungry, evil person is how they have kind of painted in their brain to see? That's the biggest challenge. That's the biggest challenge. So every business has 4 quadrants: sales, marketing, operations, finances. I think pharmacists are so stuck in the operation,
Correct.
doing. They're not looking at their finances. They're not looking at their sales and marketing. And that's what's truly missing is it's just they think that operation is everything to
Right.
make money, and it's not. It's not.
Right. No, you're
Like
absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
I know pharmacies that are thriving only on their like other things, right? Like their front store or all the side products that they have or the community events that they do and then the sales that they make. Like there's so many different ways of making money. A lot of pharmacies don't actually see money from prescription anymore. So what are
Right.
they doing, outside of that?
Right. Yeah. No, what are you doing? Yeah. You're thinking out, are they thinking outside the box or they're just going to keep, Lisa Foss was on my show a couple of months ago and, she talked
Love
about,
Lisa.
yeah, Lisa's awesome. Yeah. She's another rock star. She talked about pharmacies operating, like it's 1999. I mean, you just can't do that. You just can't keep operating like that and expect to stay in business.
Almost like a caveman approach. Like they just think that they'll just go out there and hunt and they'll find something
Right. Just
and
go
then
out there,
they'll run their show.
right, get a club and beat somebody over the head. Come on in and get your script filled with me. I mean, that's not going to work anymore. It just doesn't work. I just, yeah, I mean, I think pharmacy schools, as well have done a bad job of teaching the importance of sales and marketing. I had the opportunity to be a guest lecturer at a school of pharmacy at the University of Texas earlier this year. And yeah, their professor asked me to come in and talk about, what I do, the M&A, the sales and marketing, and because that's just not something that, a lot of pharmacy, curriculums really get into. And so right now I'm also looking at starting an internship, okay, with BuySellRx, a pharmacy advisor M&A internship to try to provide, that knowledge, that experience to these young minds, open them up to a whole other avenue of pharmacy, of understanding sales, marketing, business, finance, all of those things. Because yeah, I just think it's so important.
Would you say that again another favorite guy, Robert Kiyosaki,
Oh
Rich
yeah,
Dad Poor Dad?
yeah, yeah.
So we go from being employed to self-employed when we buy the pharmacy or start a pharmacy,
Hmm.
and then people have no idea how to be a true business owner
Right.
because, as you said, like they are seeing investments as more like cost. They're not into sales and marketing. They're not into branding. Like, imagine a pharmacist who could brand themselves in a way where everything that they did was just like something people would trust. And I actually met someone, I've forgot the guy's name. I did an interview with him, and he's on TikTok, and he's a pharmacist, and
Hmm.
all his money comes from selling supplements that go out actually as like it's like operating as a warehouse to just like sell supplements.
Hmm.
And he's a big TikToker, and none of the money comes from the pharmacy side. It's just all from all these other things
And
that he's
and
doing.
he's a
He
pharmacy.
branded
He's a
himself.
pharmacy owner.
Yeah,
He's a
he's a
pharmacy
pharmacy
owner,
owner.
TikToker, promoting himself, selling supplements. Wow, that's awesome. That's awesome. See, but that's just again, that's marketing. That's sales and marketing. That's what that is. That's what's driving that. And then by branding himself, he's becoming the Nike, of his community.
I asked him, I was like, hey, how much money are you making from actually the filling side? And he said nothing. All the money, like all his clerks are doing packaging of these supplements and sending them out. Like that's what he uses the pharmacy as his warehouse to ship out supplements.
Wow, wow, wow. So he's got these supplements, and then he packages them in a certain way, and then he promotes them. I mean, that's that. Uh, uh, one of my guys that I follow is Grant Cardone. Are you familiar with Grant?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I'm a huge 10x guy. I've been to multiple growth cons, and I've been to several of his seminars, and the guy just talks about promote, promote, promote. I mean, no matter what, you got to promote, and he always talks about investing in yourself. Investing in yourself first. I mean, he talks about, don't invest like he's a real big real estate investor, like him, Kiyosaki, those guys. But he says, you don't want to start investing in vehicles like that until you invested in yourself, till we can generate that revenue to invest in those other investment vehicles. So yeah, so just going back to just taking care of yourself. I mean, I think that's kind of been the thing that you and I have just been hitting on is, you got to invest in yourself, take care of yourself.
Absolutely. So people think that going to college is the biggest investment they should be making, and we've been trained from our younger years to actually till we graduate to just be good student, good employee. Like to become something bigger than that, you got to go out there and find the right coaches and mentors.
Right, right. Well, like you mentioned Robert Kiyosaki, one of the things that Robert says is that schools are doing our students a disservice because they're teaching them when you take a test, you can't cheat. Well, in the real world, that's all you do is you're trying to talk to other people. Hey, I don't have the answers. I need to go talk to this person. Like me, I'm talking to you. I talked to Lisa. I talked to AJ. I talked to all these other people. I mean that in the real world, it's totally different from what they teach in the classroom. Is you're networking. I mean, you are, yeah, and the schools, and when you take a test, they call it cheating, but in the real world, it's networking. Again, investing in yourself, trying to you don't have all the answers. And so you seek those other answers by going after people like yourself, with these programs that you offer that can help other healthpreneurs, expand, grow, monetize their business.
Absolutely. That's the training that we do is truly making them the rock stars that they want to be because they have the itch. They just don't know what to do, how to do it. Also, all the stories that we make up about like how are we gonna be seen, the judgment that comes. Like we judge ourselves way more than anybody else. So of course you're calling in that. Like when you judge yourself, others will judge you.
Right. And again, going back to the way you promote yourself, like I see the posts that you make, the pictures that you post, and I'm just like, man, I love this. I mean, I'm like, this gal, man, she gets it. I mean, she goes after. I mean, you lean all in. Where so many people, they're afraid to post a video, they're afraid to post a picture. I mean, some people are afraid to post at all. Like I see a bunch of I mean, I'm surprised, but I still see some trolls on LinkedIn. People that, all they do is they hate on your stuff, but then you look at them, well, they haven't posted anything. I'm like, come on, man, get out of here. It's just, but when I see your stuff, I mean, I see your originality. I see your fearlessness. I mean, the way you just go out there and just, it is. I mean, I love that. And so that's why I wanted to get you on my show and just kind of pick your brain and just try to, understand. And gosh, because I really appreciate the way you think, the way you operate, the way you rock. So Mansi, so tell my audience one more time, how can they get in touch with you? What's the best way for them to get in touch with you to get more information about you and your services?
The best way would be functionalwellnessnetwork.com, and there is a way to fill out a form, or just honestly text me 858-899-88880.
All righty, fantastic. Well, Mansi, what can I do for you? Thank you so much for being on the show. What can I do to help you? To help your mission, help your cause?
Thank you so much for seeing me and appreciating me, acknowledging like we are standing for a mission together. And if there is a pharmacist wanting to get trained, that's what we do. We have a club called Abundance Retreat Club. And a lot of people go through this training for 4 months to see if entrepreneurship is for them. And then on the other side, they're going to, join a year-long program, and if not, then they will at least find out that it's not for them. And that's what I urge for people to really come to our club and get the shifts of their lifetime, because people truly kind of now divide their life. Like there's about 120 people who've gone through our club, and people say their life before the retreat and after the retreat, and that's how profound these retreats are. So 4 days, you immerse yourself, take time out for yourself, and literally do the looking, and then find out like the answers that you have been really wanting to hear from the universe.
All right, that's awesome. That's awesome. Well, all right, okay. Well, Dr. Shah, Dr. Mansi Shah, thank you so much for joining me on the Pharmacy Rockstar podcast. Everybody, please reach out to Dr. Mansi Shah. She gave her cell number. Find her on LinkedIn. Give her a shout, guys. She is a wealth of knowledge. Thank you all for watching. Dr. Mansi, thank you so much for joining me once again on the Pharmacy Rockstar podcast.
Thank you for having me.